How often should I change my oil? The basics so you can do it yourself. Dirty oil is nowhere near as good as clean oil. There are a lot of additives in oil that is dirty in which boil out and then cause some metal parts to be eaten away and more, such as water being retained in the crankcase and all over, which results in sludge. This sludge mixture will just keep growing and adding more and more particles to it that are abrasive and then wear down the engine instead of protecting it like clean oil does. This is why changing your oil is always suggested at different intervals that are reasonable, such as a certain amount of time, a certain amount of miles that have been traveled since the last change, and so on. Every time that you change your oil you are doing a lot of good for your car, but know that just a few days after the oil change the oil can turn completely black, so going by a period of time or an amount of miles is how you can tell that you will need to change the oil again, because other than that it is kind of hard to see if the oil is dirty any other way. If your vehicle is used a lot, then a good estimate to follow is to change the oil every 1,000 miles. Remember, this is if you use your car a lot, but changing your oil all the time helps you to get almost twice the amount of miles that you would get out of your engine normally. Some examples of when you should change the oil every 1,000 miles are if you do a lot of driving that is stop and go, if you make a ton of small trips in one day and the engine has time to cool down almost every time in between these trips, if you don't drive fast enough on the highway, or if you drive in weather that is very hot or with a lot of wind, because it won't get hot enough inside the crankcase to get rid of the sludge and the built-up water. For general driving of a vehicle you can go up to every 3,000 miles before you need to really change the oil out. Newer cars are different than older cars, so you should look at the recommendations from the manufacturer and follow what they say, because with some new cars the manufacturer says you can go every 7,500 miles before you need to change your oil again. New cars can run longer on bad oil, but it is still highly recommended to watch the oil yourself and to change it at less mileage increments. For older cars, say no more than every 3,000 miles, and for newer cars, say no more than every 5,000 miles or so, just to be on the safe side of things.